And welcome back to Flexible Games, where we are playing Production Line. And I've got the factory down now. Let's see, we've got the computerized sales, which lowers the export by 2 seconds. Nice, which is very nice. Which means now I don't need as many exporters to get to that goal that we're going to try for, which is a car a second. So right now, I only need 6 exporters for that. And the bottleneck, obviously is how many cars I can push through here. So one of the things I've done is I've upped the robots on the axles. So we are now down to 11.45 seconds on the axles, which is pretty good. And for the other major bottleneck is the paint process, or at least the drying process. So I've added 2 more levels of upgrades to this drying process, which gets us down to 23 2/3 of a second. So if you half that, we're looking at just about 11 some odd seconds, which happens to be right in here. So we're just about at that sweet spot for drying. And this one, these dryers were a little faster. So I've got only 1 upgrade on that, and it gives us plenty of leeway on drying this first level. So now I'm pushing out a car in this area on this line roughly every 11 seconds. And so I think, and that's about is the maximum that you can get. I mean, yeah, I could probably add another robot here and some more dryers and tweak that out, but I think we're going to be needing a little bit more kind of leeway, and we're going to need another setup here. And I have dramatically increased the size of our research area to try to hammer out some of these researches, especially, manufacturing and all of that kind of stuff, before we dive into adding more lines, because I want to have most everything researched before I get too deep into adding accessories and everything, because I don't want 50 different car models with different accessories. So I'm going to try to hammer out as much research as I can before we get too crazy with our lines. Now, I could basically set up multiple lines with this exact same pattern. And this is 11 seconds. Well, let's round it to 12. Let's round it up to 12 seconds per car. So, I would need 12 of these lines in order to spit out enough cars to get to our goal. And I don't think I have, well, I might have the room. I mean, I could put many lines in here. But then the limitation becomes our resource imports, which is a huge bottleneck when you have multiple lines and you've got a whole bunch of different, areas demanding resources. See, like this area right in here, if I added another line in the middle of this with all of these requirements, I don't think our system would be able to keep up with that. I honestly don't think it would be. So one of the things I could do is like take this spot here. This spot here, we could easily put 2 lines in, and we have enough resource importers. There's one down there. There's a whole bunch along this line. We could easily do that. Oh, you can actually make starter motors now. I don't think we could before. I want exhaust manufacturing as well. So yeah, I could easily put 2 lines in here. Maybe even 3. Since we have 2 exporters on this side. Yeah, we could put 3 different lines in this section right here. We got plenty of resource importers. We could easily stuff 3 lines into there. And as a secondary goal, if we, if I'm going to try to get to our goal of a car per second. But the secondary goal I have is to accumulate $1 billion. So however we get there, I could just put this on fast forward, let it run overnight, and I would probably get there. But what's the fun in that? I want just tons of cars on just all sorts of things going on. So yeah, I think we're gonna probably take this spot here. Might as well expand. What we're gonna do, expand here as well. So yeah, this whole area in here, I think we're gonna be able to fit 2 full lines into here. So, because I need to run some numbers. I have a sneaking suspicion that a lot of these things to manufacture, especially like tires, wheels, and brakes, are going to be not cost effective to produce in-house. I need to look at the data files and see what the balance is, and make sure that the files, because each one contains employees. So if I do slot, let's see, chassis, fuel tank. Oh, we're researching that right now. I do believe I have door frames, door panels. Okay, so you can see it's 2 employees. It takes 6.4 seconds to make a door panel. Okay, we are using, if we go to door panels, where would those be? I think those are down in body. Yeah, down here. Okay, so door panels, we're using 4 every 4 3/4 of a second. Okay, 4 of these, let's say 5 seconds. So we're almost 1 per second. So the make door panels takes 6.4 seconds to make 1, and we need 4 of them. So we would need 5 or 6 of these make door panels to... Oh, this is just annoying. I'm going to pause it. We would need like 6 of these to satisfy the demand of this door panel. Now, if we look at that, okay, make door panels, each one is 2 employees. So you're looking at 12 employees to satisfy the demand of 1 door panel manufacturer. Now, if you have multiple lines, that's just exponentially increases the amount of employees you need, the wages you're producing. And so let's look at the prices then. Okay, can we justify that change? So each door panel is $266 for each door panel. Now, if we want to make the door panels, I'm just gonna put this down somewhere. Now, each door panel is 2 steel sheets. 2 steel sheets. So let's look at the price for steel sheets. There it is. So it's $120 to make a single door panel. Now, let's do $120. There it is. So we're saving about $140. $140 per door panel. That's a pretty good savings. I mean, that is a really good savings. But does the employee count and the power demand, look at the power demand, 256 for power demand. Does that offset the cost of just importing them raw? So I haven't looked at what the wages are, because if we look at our income and expenses, looks like wages right here, wages production. So we are every 24 hours spending $122,000 in wages, and that's a pretty high number considering our component purchases, of course, are the highest. So you're basically trading wages for component purchase money, and I'm not sure what the good balance is. Now, there are some of those prices that would justify it. So if we look at prices, and let's look at fuel tank. Fuel tank, $333 for a fuel tank, and I'm pretty sure it takes 2 steel to make it. So you're looking at about $100. So you're saving $230 per fuel tank, and you're only using one of them. You're only using one fuel tank per car, which it makes a huge difference. I think it was in fit engine. That's exhaust. Where is fuel tank at? I'm not seeing any fuel tanks here. There it is, right there, way at the beginning. So each fuel tank costs us $333. Fuel tank. So $333 per fuel tank. Now, what does it cost to make those? Do I have the fit fuel tank? Yes, I have make fuel tank unlocked. So let's look at what this costs. This is 2 steel. So again, it's about $100 to make these. So if we look at steel again, yep, $100. So we could save a massive amount. Now look at the time on this. 8.2 seconds to make a fuel tank. And we're using every 8 seconds. So with a little bit of hope, we could make extra fuel tanks and be able to satisfy lines. So that is a good investment, I think, to make fuel tanks. Now, we're going to need to put them, on here close to where we use them. Otherwise, it's just going to import them and it's going to ignore us. So if we try to line this up here, try to do the whole Tetris thing here. Let's see. We could sneak it right into here. No, we can't. Something is taking up that spot there. Don't want to use that one. I mean, we could put it right in here. We can't upgrade it. It doesn't use welders, the robot arms. So if we do resource conveyor, like that. Okay, so now this thing is demanding 16 steel. So let's go out like this, and we should start making fuel tanks. Now this will save us quite a lot of money to process all of these. Now again, this is 8.2 seconds and this is 8 seconds. So the odds are, we got a little bit of a delay between when the axles and the frame gets there to make it. So we have a surplus now of fuel tanks, which is good because now we're able to satisfy the demand for this with fuel tanks, and we're saving a massive amount of money, roughly $230 per fuel tank. So $230 per car extra of profit, which is really good considering how much we're actually spending in our components. So, with that in mind, I really let's kick off another research. Just to get rid of those errors down here. I really want to focus, manufacturing. Exhaust is another one. That's one per car, and I think the cost is pretty high. Let's look at the prices of exhaust. Yeah, $417 for an exhaust. Do I have the exhaust? I do. So if I set this in right in here, okay, I need to resource conveyor. I need to hook that up. So this uses 2 steel for each exhaust, and it's 13.9 seconds. Unfortunately, let's click on this. This is 6.1 seconds. So depending on, how fast we push cars through here, it looks like we have an exhaust right there. So there, it grabs this exhaust and moves it into there. This also helps the resource importer in lowering the amount of stuff it has to pull in through that process. So let's look. Roof, I'm sure these are all just basic steel. So let's look at starter motors. These are, again, 1 per car. So these might be worthwhile because if I remember right, they were pretty expensive. So let's go down to the S. Oh, 199. That's a little less than what I thought it would be. But again, if we want to do tires, that is a monster because we're using 4 per car. So it's, again, a difficult thing. I don't know. I haven't looked at the numbers. I really need to know what the wages are. So if I have, if I have to employ 12 people to make enough tires for 1 line, does that offset the savings I get from making tires? And that's part of the balance that the developer is going through right now to try to sort the balance out for the game itself. He's got some work to do, and he's pushing out updates pretty frequently, and as such, we can expect some changes here and there. Not anything major. Seats is the other one. I can definitely make or save some money if I make my own seats. So let's do that. I'm going to rotate this and put it right in line right there. So this thing uses 1 steel and 1 leather to make a seat, but it's every 6 seconds. We are using 2 seats every 6 seconds. So we would need 2 of these in order to satisfy demand. It's actually doing a pretty good job. Let's look at what did I say? Tires. So let's look at tires. I'm gonna try to unlock tires here. See how seats are doing. So if we look at the cost of seats, let's see. We're looking at seat. $581 for a seat. Now, as we saw, each seat is 1 leather and 1 steel. Well, we know steel is $50. So what is leather? $252. So we're spending roughly $300 to make a seat. Well, to buy a seat was $581. So we're saving $280 per seat that we make in-house. That is definitely worth it. Definitely. So there are definitely some manufacturing processes that we can save a massive amount of money, and we have to be very picky and choosy on what we import and what we make in-house. So certain things like a fuel tank is definitely something that we can make in-house. Seats also something we can make. As far as other things go, starter motors, that was part of the engine. So right here, starter motors, we need 1 every 4.5 seconds. Let's check quickly the starter motor right here. Make starter motor. This is every 6.4 seconds. Okay, let's make starter motor. That's a pretty big process here, so we're going to be able to fit this right in there. And this uses just 1 steel for a starter motor. Huge savings. Let's hook this up just like that. So the tire is something we can look at now. Flywheel also. Let's take a peek at flywheel. So now we have starter motors right here, and look at that. It picked it right off this and moved it right in here. So again, we're able to save on starter motors. Let's see how much. Again, 1 steel to make a starter motor. Granted, it's probably early game, and that is, pretty cheap. But each starter motor is $200, and a steel is $50. So we're saving $150 per car to make our own starter motors. That's That's awesome savings. I'm very happy with that savings. And look at seats. We are saving an amazing amount of money making our own seats. Seats is one of the biggest money savers that you can do. And so our expenses now are pretty much going down. It's hard to graph, component purchases over time. So I'm not sure. I wish there was a graph for component purchases alone. So if the developer is watching this, I want to be able to pull this out, component purchases, and I want a list of all the components, what I'm buying, what's costing me the most money, and all of that stuff. That would be fantastic. So no export room. That means that it's all caught up and it's maxed out its line. So that is good. No export room is fine for a manufacturer like that. As long as the parts are being used, that is good. And we could spit a few more cars through this process. So make flywheel is done. Let's just continue on some things that might save us a good amount of money. Let's do wheels, brakes. Brakes. So yeah, the plan is to pick and choose what I make in-house and what I import, because some things are just not going to be cost effective to make in-house because we need so many of them. And so before the episode's out, let's take a peek at tires. Tires is one of those things that I've never automated. So let's look at tires. Tires are $198 per tire. So per car, we're looking at $800 per car. So let's look at, I think it was part of engine. Fit tires, make tires. I'm going to build this out here so it doesn't start getting imported. So this is tires. This is almost 9 seconds per tire. 9 seconds per tire. Requires 2 rubber. So if we look at rubber right here, $20 per rubber. So you're looking at $40 to make a tire, single tire, and they cost $198. So we're saving, it would be a savings. Let's round that up to $200. So $40 to make a tire, $200 to buy one. But we would need how many employees? 5. There are 5 employees to make a tire. That is a lot of people that you would have to pay, because we would need, that was 8.9 seconds. And the tires themselves, geez, we were just getting bombarded by stuff. So steering wheel manufacturer. I'm going to pause it. So tires, 5.1 seconds to fit tires. And that was 8.9 seconds. So we're looking at, let's see, 4 of these would be 4 every 8.9 seconds. We need more than that. We would need probably 6. Probably 6 of these. That's 30 employees. 30 employees. We would have to pay 30 employees. Now, I don't know how much 30 employees costs. I don't know what the wages are. We can't, if we look at wages, I have no idea what each person makes. I have no idea. So that is something I need to actually look in the files for. So with that in mind, we're going to need to start our other production lines here and really ramp this process up to make money. We're going to try to make some money. I also want to research the accessories so we can start throwing accessories on these and start charging a premium for these cars. That'll have to do it for this episode. So I thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.